Have you ever pictured the entire Bible as one single epic legal drama? I mean, a story about a rightful authority that was lost, a world that was illegally hijacked, and a truly brilliant strategy to win it all back? Well, that's exactly what we're going to break down in this explainer. The theological argument of how authority over all of creation was forfeited, and then how it was decisively reclaimed.
All right, let's dive right in. Here's our roadmap. We're going to trace this whole cosmic story, starting with how the world was forfeited in the first place. Then we'll look at the radical plan to get it back, the absolute climax at the cross, the spoils of that victory, and finally, what our role is supposed to be in this new, secured kingdom.
So where does a conflict of this magnitude even begin? Well, it all goes back to humanity's original job description, and that one catastrophic moment when everything went sideways.
Okay, so this was the initial mandate. And you gotta understand, this wasn't just a friendly suggestion. This was a formal, legal transfer of authority. God, the ultimate owner of everything, appoints humanity, the first Adam, as the legal steward, the ruler of his creation.
But as we all know, the first Adam, he failed. And by choosing to disobey God, he didn't just commit some personal mistake. This was an act of high treason against the king. Instead of ruling, he became what the scriptures call a slave to sin. And in doing that, he legally forfeited his authority over the world, basically handing the keys over to a usurper.
And just like that, the entire world fell under the influence of an illegal ruler. See, Satan didn't create the world, he had no right to it, but by tricking its appointed steward, he seized control. And that is the core problem. Creation itself was now in bondage to a hostile power.
Now, with a legal and spiritual problem this huge, the solution had to be just as profound. God couldn't just, hit a cosmic reset button. The rules of the very system he himself established, they had to be followed.
This brings up a fascinating theological puzzle, doesn't it? How could God, the ultimate authority, legally take back control without just shattering the rules of stewardship that he put in place? The answer is, well, it's one of the most radical ideas in all of history.
He sent in a champion, the last Adam. To legally win back what humanity lost, the Creator himself had to become human. Think about that. He entered the system he created, not as some outsider breaking all the rules, but as an insider, a man ready to win the title back fair and square.
And this right here perfectly captures the central paradox of the whole story. The one who possessed everything by right of creation chose to legally become the inheritor of all things. It's like the owner of a grand estate willingly becoming an heir just to win the deed back legally. It's an incredible thought.
Okay, so all of this leads to the absolute climax of the story, the cross. And in this theological framework, you have to understand the crucifixion isn't a tragedy or some kind of defeat. No, it's the enemy's greatest blunder and God's most brilliant strategic move.
At the cross, 4 critical things happened, all at once. First, by killing a perfectly innocent man, who also happened to be God in the flesh, Satan exposed his own absolute evil for the whole universe to see. Checkmate. Second, Jesus' perfect life and obedience, right up to his death, proved that God's law isn't impossible. It's good and true. Third, he legally paid the penalty for humanity's treason, completely canceling our debt. And finally, as it says in Colossians, he disarmed the spiritual powers and authorities and made a public spectacle of them, triumphing over them by the cross.
So, what happened after this unbelievable victory? Well, the result wasn't just a return to the way things were in the Garden of Eden. Nope, it was a total consolidation of all power into the hands of the one rightful king.
And this brings us to this idea of escalation. Christ didn't just get Adam's old job back. As the victor, he took ownership of, well, everything. The previous role of steward was completely absorbed into absolute lordship. And the scale of this inheritance is just breathtaking. We're not just talking about authority on earth, but in heaven too. It's not just over people, but over every angel, authority and power. He was given the authority to judge everyone and everything and the name that is above every other name. There is not one corner of creation that is outside his dominion. This verse from Hebrews, man, it just sums it all up perfectly. The one who actually made the universe was appointed its legal heir. The Creator reclaimed his creation not by brute force, but through a perfect, legal, and sacrificial masterstroke. So we've seen this incredible cosmic story of loss and reclamation. But you know what? The story isn't over. Now we get to our part in the narrative. What does this massive victory mean for us, right here, right now?
Think about this timeline in 3 acts. Act 1, Adam's failure puts all of humanity in chains. Act 2, Christ's victory wins everything back. And now, Act 3, this present age, where believers are operating under a brand new mandate within a kingdom whose victory is already 100% secure. And this changes everything about our role. We are no longer slaves trying to fight our way out of bondage. We are sons and daughters, ambassadors of the King, empowered by His Spirit. Our job isn't to win the war. That's already done. Our job is to enforce the peace, to demonstrate the reality of His rule, and basically to administer the terms of surrender to an already defeated enemy.
And don't think this is a small thing. According to this view, all of creation is literally groaning, waiting in eager expectation for humanity to finally step into this restored role, to govern and care for the world with the wisdom and the power of its victorious King.
And this leaves us with one final provocative thought to really chew on. If the war for ownership of the universe is over, then what exactly is the nature of the spiritual battle we still face? This framework suggests it's not a struggle for victory, but a struggle to live out and enforce a victory that has already been won. The fight is not for the kingdom, but from the kingdom.